This summer, one epic will destroy every piece of content. Coming to a summoning portal near you, Seer, bringer of death. What's up, guys? Everybody knows that Seer is the queen of PVE content. She's the wave killing machine. But one place I did want to highlight her in this video besides all that is that she is a very underrated PvP champion. Now, I don't think she'll be good for live arena because she's very synergy dependent, which means you kind of need to build an entire team around her. So I don't think she'll be good for live arena, but for classic arena and tag arena, where you can pick and choose exactly the champions you put on a team with her, I think she's very powerful, and I'm going to showcase that today. But first, let's go over how we have her built. Now, I think it's very imperative that all Seers have crit damage gauntlets. The ones I have here are ascended with crit damage. You can see we have 100% crit rate in the build. Quick glance here, 100% crit rate. She's 210 speed, which is important for Doom Tower Hard, and we'll get into that later. And then I have her with 318 accuracy. And this is to help, obviously for Doom Tower Hard, on the high end I need more than that, but this is as much as I can get out of her with the build that I have. Accuracy is kind of an afterthought with this champion, but we'll go into her gear and I'll show you all the pieces that I have. So start with the gauntlets, crit damage with crit damage, ascension, which is really nice, and you have crit rate, a little bit of accuracy, and speed. These are the three main things I'm looking for: crit damage, crit rate, and speed. Now on the chest, we actually have an accuracy chest, and this does not hinder her damage because the damage of her A3 scales off of enemy max HP plus the number of buffs that are stripped. So we have accuracy on the chest with crit rate and speed, and because she doesn't need attack, HP, or defense to scale her damage, again, we can just put her in speed boots, get her moving as fast as possible. And on the boots, we have crit damage and crit rate, with speed as the main stat. And then for her weapon, again, crit damage, crit rate, speed. On her helm, we have crit rate, crit damage, speed. You're noticing a pattern here. Crit rate, crit damage. No speed on this one, unfortunately. And then for the amulet, we have crit damage. You can find accuracy on a crit damage amulet. It's not going to hurt because the accuracy will help her strip enemy buffs. This will actually contribute more to her damage. And then we have accuracy on the banner with speed. And beyond that, you're just looking for ways to keep her alive so she's not too squishy. So I've got defense on the ring that has defense percentage and HP percentage. And it happens to be a reaction ring. So if we get attacked before I get a chance to go, this will help. You know, there's a 25% chance that it'll turn that critical hit into a normal hit. And then for gear sets, I have lethal, which is a basically savage with 10% extra crit damage. This is the gear set you get from farming Dark Fae in Doom Tower with a crit damage set. So in total, I've got mine with 356% crit damage. And she is awakened with Crushing Rend at 4 stars. I'm continuing to grind Iron Twins. I plan to push this up to 6-star. And I'll go into a little bit more why later on. But for now, let's just jump straight in. Oh, let's talk about masteries. So for masteries, I have crit rate, crit damage, more damage while she's attacking from full HP. This is for Doom Tower Hard and other wave content. It just gives her a little bit more speed after the first wave. Then I've got increases damage inflicted to targets with less than 40% HP. And then we have Bring It Down. So she gets 6% more damage when attacking enemies with higher max HP, which is pretty much every enemy. And we have Kill Streak for more damage on the waves. And then this is irrelevant, really. I just took this so I can get down to Flawless Execution. You could technically take Helm Smasher for a 50% chance of ignoring more defense, which technically would give you more damage, but it's only half the time. So for the sake of consistency, I've chosen to take Flawless Execution because this is always 20% crit damage. For this, I just picked up the accuracy, and then Lure of Steel. This will actually give her 1% more crit rate from my lethal set, because that grants 10% crit rate. And then also, I think it gives me like a few crit damage as well.
an evil eye. So let's real quick look at the total stats. So here you see that I have 6% from masteries, 5% are from the 5% mastery and the offense tree, and then the other 1% is from Lore of Steel. And the same thing with crit damage. From masteries we have 33%, so 10% is from the 10% mastery, 20% is from flawless execution, and the last 3% is from Lore of Steel. We gain an extra 3% from Lore of Steel because we have a crit damage set. But real quick before I forget, let's go over her skills. This is the granddaddy of them all, the Karma Burn. It removes all buffs from all allies and enemies, and this does require accuracy to strip the buffs from enemies. Once you remove the buffs, it attacks all enemies. The damage increases according to the number of buffs removed. It also has a 50% chance to put the enemies to sleep, which is actually kind of clutch in Doom Tower when you're going against Rotos waves, because normally he would cut in, take an extra turn, and then attack you. But if you can put him to sleep, he sort of skips that extra turn. He takes the turn, but because he's put to sleep, he doesn't attack you. So it's really nice. I actually used to use her to counter Rotos in Arena for that exact reason. The chance of placing a sleep debuff increases by 5% for each buff removed, and then it inflicts less damage to bosses, but her job really isn't to deal damage to bosses, it's just to get us through the waves and to the boss. You can see here that damage also scales off of enemy max HP. Now if you don't have a Lydia on your account yet, if you have not beat Faction Wars, and you don't have a champion or you don't have like a Draco Morph or someone else like a Venus who can do decreased defense and weaken on your team, one thing you can do is just run a decreased defense champion and like a speed champion. Use your decreased defense champion to place decreased defense, and then open with her A2 to place weaken and increase crit rate. This is going to give her 25% more damage from the weaken, plus you get that extra buff to strip when she does her Karma Burn. So if you have a speed champion to turn meter boost you, you can take 2 turns, place weaken on the first turn, then Karma Burn to nuke the wave. I actually relied on this strategy before I got my Lydia for level 25 dungeons. And then her A1 actually does a decent amount of damage if you build attack onto her. I don't have attack built onto her because that's not my primary objective for this champion. It also has a nice little 20% chance to take an extra turn. So if you're using her alongside Renegade and Doom Tower Hard, you have a chance to reset with Renegade, attack with A1. There's a 20% chance you grant an extra turn and you can go straight back into Karma Burn. So it's almost as if you have a Kymar, but not quite. So now let's jump into Arena and I'll show you what she can do. I'm not confident enough in my speed gear that I can beat some of these speed teams, so for this video I'm going to be targeting the Go Second teams like this one here. So let's... Do I have... Yes, I do. Okay. Okay, so we do have Stone Skin, not a huge problem. We're going to have at least... It did not say resisted, so there's still some hope that Seer can strip that buff when she nukes on her A3. We stripped it, but because of the shield and the lack of decreased defense and weaken, we didn't get the kill. But this should not be an issue from here on out. Okay. Let's go ahead and refresh. Here's another slow team, kind of low level player. But Drang does have really high max HP, so hopefully we get a big nuke on the Drang here. Drang has really good base stats. Oh, you know what? Oh, never mind. Never mind. 320,000 on the Drang. Yeah, that's a good one. So you can see from the damage, this will tell you exactly how much HP each of the enemies has. So this Drang had 96,000 HP. The Stoutus had 38,000. The Ronda had 35,000. And the Kyoku had 49,000. So the damage that they take shows you how much max HP they had. So the Drang had just under 100k max HP, and the Seer's nuke hit him for 320,000. So obviously it deals less damage to these lower HP champions. I'm gonna try this one. They are a few levels lower than me, so I should have good enough speed gear to be first, but they do have a better speed aura. Just to show an example of, okay, we did not get decreased defense on Nishak, we did not get weakened on Lydia, but mostly interested in the damage on Scylla of the Drakes and Ultimate Death Knight. Happened kind of fast. Looked like it was in the 130,000 range. This isn't like to demonstrate how powerful this team is. I just want to see how much damage my Seer can do here. So 262,000 to that poor Arbiter. So yes, definitely an underrated arena nuker if you have the right setup for her. Okay, so this team here is actually pretty intimidating. We got Duchess, a Sifi, Ultimate Death Knight, and a Mashald. But I think I can go faster. Team power is pretty similar. But with the right setup, I think my Seer will be able to nuke these guys down. Okay, good, there's no stone skin. Even if there was, we have a chance to strip stone skin with Sifi here, or not Sifi, Kimmy. And then if Kimmy fails to strip, Seer can actually strip when she does her A3. Okay, so now keep in mind that the Duchess is going to be reducing the damage of this ability by 25% with her passive. 141,000 on the Duchess. I didn't see how many was dealt to Sifi. I'm gonna have to watch the replay and slow it down in the editing room. What we can see from these stats, who had the highest max HP? 70,000 HP on the Duchess, 60,000 HP on the Sifi, 56,000 on Ultimate Death Knight, and 38,000 on Mashald. Maybe I can find some examples in Tag Arena here. Here's a Magnar and a Miscreated Monster. Let's go against this team. I'm gonna have to put a team together real quick. These first two teams are not really optimized. I kind of just shoved them together. The one we've been waiting for here. So we're looking at Magnar and Miscreated Monster for the damage. The 268,000 and 282,000. Not bad. Okay. So, unfortunately, I do not think she's going to be good in live arena because she is a very synergy dependent champion. But in classic and tag, where you can build a team around her, she can absolutely be a nuker for you there. So now let's look at some other content. Okay, luckily, Orcs Faction Wars is open today, and I haven't done my keys yet. So let's just do, this is the team I used to beat the boss on stage 21, 3-star, all that stuff. So I'll just run it through on auto on stage 20. Maybe I'll do 21 next, just to show you the boss. But this wave is a huge pain in the butt for most factions. It's very difficult to kill that wave. But Seer just rips them to shreds. I mean, she had good setup with Duke the Pierce doing decreased defense, and I had a couple other buffs on the team. Increased attack from Old Man Yorg. That's pretty much it, though, in terms of setup. Our old Hermit Yorg, whatever his name is. This fella right here in the back. Looks like we're coming up on that. Here we go. Didn't have decreased defense on this one, so she stayed on her feet. Yeah, even in Faction Wars, she can be great. And she's especially good against this wave because she doesn't care if the Rush Guard the tower places block damage because she can just rip that off when she does her A3 nuke. Just like that. 300,000 damage to the Rush Guard the tower in the back. It's pretty nice. That was a very minimal setup. I had to pick up a few more keys in order to do the boss. Well, actually, it says my best time is 9 minutes. Hopefully doesn't take that long. I think I did it on manual because I was trying to 3-star it. I'm just gonna run it on auto and see what happens. So she actually has an AoE weaken on her A2, which we saw there. Let's kill the Paragon so we can't make anybody unkillable. Sandlast Reviver's passive there, putting Ally Protect on our Reviver, which is very good. We did not have decreased defense and weaken when we did the nuke. Unfortunately, we have him up now. Doesn't do us a lot of good now. I mean, it still does us good, but it's a little too late. So the waves are not an issue. Let's see how she does on the boss. I'm just gonna let it run on auto. I don't think I've ever done this on auto. I usually just farm stage 20. Still our buffs. Braska's getting some nice heals away. Would be more if he had more HP, but he's only level 32. But that's really all I needed for this boss. Hopefully these buffs run off before he steals them from us. Nice. 339,000 with her A3 against the boss. Looks like he's going to steal our buffs now, which just sucks because we got increased attack out and increased crit rate. Maybe we can get lucky and kill him first. But again, Sandlast Survivor's passive, keeping everybody alive with that Ally Protect. Okay, that was his health swap. So now we have a 12-turn clock to try to kill him. I think we should be able to do it. Because now his health swap has a 12-turn cooldown. So if we can keep chipping away, we should be just fine. Nice. Hey, new best time. Look at that. Okay. So let's jump into a few more other areas where she's obviously really great. Alright, so we're going to do a bit of a maximum damage test. Shout out to Hell Hades. He's not here right now, so I'm just going to have to do it by myself. So that's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 buffs to strip. Should be a lot of damage. And this is level 10 hard mode dragon. So this is about as high as the enemy max HP can get in dungeons. We're going to set up with decreased defense and weaken. Landed on everybody. We have also we get the strengthen and speed and shield set from Lydia. Now we have revive on death and increased defense. This gives unkillable and continuous heal. And then this will give us block debuffs, increased attack, and perfect veil. And now Seer nukes. 2,400,000 damage. That's a spicy meatball. But now I have a void affinity debuffer, so I don't have to worry about weak hits like I would have to from Stagnite. And on to the boss. Should be a clean one-shot here. Oh, no, not quite. Pretty darn close. I think against the Magic Keep boss, she does actually one-shot the boss. Unfortunately, Magic Keep's not open right now. But we can try... I don't want to pay 200 gems just to open it. So we'll look at Force Keep, though. You can see I haven't run this one in a while. Same setup should work just the same. This boss actually puts buffs up on himself, or maybe it's his side ads that do it, but he gets increased defense put on himself from some means or another. One shots the wave. Kymar should reset here. One shots the wave, and then Renegade will reset. Which will give Lady Kimmy a chance to get back to her A3 to give more buffs. Look at that, almost one-shot the boss. Wow. But if I did that again, I could one-shot the boss, but I don't want to waste my energy. You get the idea. But yeah, she's kind of a flight risk for Ice Golem, because when you do her A3, she will incite the Ice Golem's counterattack, but I do use her in hard mode 10 Dragon. This is my team. This is a team that I use. Sometimes depends on my mood. Sometimes I use Venomage. Sometimes I use Staltus. The runs with Staltus are faster because he puts up more poisons. 1.5 million damage. Not too shabby. Yeah, Staltus will put up more damage on the boss, but Venomage has decreased attack and the passive damage reduction from her, from when she places healing reduction. So the runs with Venomage are a little safer. Just kind of depends on what I'm in the mood for. Do I want a safer run or do I want a faster run? But Lydia super clutch for this. Not only does she do poison sensitivity, which causes the dragon to take more damage from the poisons, but she also places block buffs, which prevents the dragon from giving himself increased attack. I actually turn off my Seer's A3 for the boss because I don't want her to strip everybody's buffs. I've actually failed several runs because of exactly that. But on like lower levels of the dungeons, like stage 20 and stuff, it's perfectly fine to use her A3 against the boss. Right there, that's kind of what I'm talking about. You can see how low everybody's getting. Having Venomage place decreased attack makes these runs just a little bit safer. Now my Lydia's dead, but we should have enough poisons. Yeah. So again, 3.3 million. This is just wave damage. It's kind of interesting that Staltus isn't receiving credit for the poisons. I think it's because the dragon's placing the poisons on himself. Very interesting. But yeah, just completely ripped through the waves like nothing. I'll show you my Fire Knight 25 team. I haven't even started hard mode yet because hard mode, let's face it, is pretty ridiculous right now. So for the buffs and debuffs setup, really Lydia is our only buffer debuffer on this team. We have a shield set, we have strengthen, we have increased speed, we have decreased defense, and we have weaken. That's enough for the Seer to one-shot the wave. Renegade resets. Lydia goes again. And then on Seer's next turn, she should obliterate this wave. There she goes. One shot, no problem, onto the boss. Cold Art should put all but one charge left on the shield down, and then Renegade drops the shield and places decreased speed with her A3. And for turn meter, we have Allure and Cold Heart. Now for bosses, dungeons 21 and up, enemy max HP skills are reduced, so they can only deal damage equal to 10% of the boss's max HP. So that's why she's only doing about 269,000 damage to the boss. But still, it's 269,000 damage to the boss. It's still a lot of damage. And then she goes with the killing blow. And now let's look at Doom Tower. Okay, for this Doom Tower hard team setup that I have, if you don't have a Kymar, this will work with 2 Renegades. The reason it works is because we have Vizix to place an AoE provoke, which will give the Seer time to come back to her skill, because Renegade doesn't fully cool down the ability. Renegade's Sacrificial Ritual will only reduce a cooldown by 2 turns. Seer's A3 is on a 4-turn cooldown. So this will reduce 2 of those turns, and then she gets a turn to use her A1 or A2, whichever. And then it will have 1 turn left, so we have to wait a full turn cycle before she can have her Karma Burn back up, which is why we have Vizix to do her AoE provoke. But because Vizix's provoke is on a 3-turn cooldown, using Renegade's Sacrificial Ritual will absolutely cool down Vizix's provoke, so she can keep the enemies crowd controlled while Seer waits to get back to her turn. So you can absolutely use 2 Renegades if you don't have Kymar. Kymar just makes it about 5 turns faster when you get to the final wave. But in order for this to work, your 2 reset champions, whether that's 2 Renegades or 2 Kymars or 1 Kymar, 1 Renegade, if you have Yumiko, whomever, their speed has to be faster than 264. The reason 264 is important is because, let's see if we can find one. The Sifis, here we go. It doesn't show it here. The Sifis are 264 speed in Doom Tower Hard, once you get above floor 110. So you have to be faster than the Sifis, because she places increased defense and block debuffs on her whole team, and does a turn meter boost and increased speed. If the enemy Sifi gets that skill away, the Whirlwind Romance, you're completely hosed. So your reset champions have to be faster than your crowd control champion, and your crowd control champion has to be faster than the Sifis. So for my team, my Kymar is 267, my Renegade is 267, and then my Vizix is 266. So she's plenty fast. My Lydia is only 248, but it doesn't matter because we have the provoke. So this will lock the enemies down and give my Lydia time to put her decreased defense and weaken on the enemies. And just like my Fire Knight 20 team, the only buffs I have on this team are Lydia's A2, and Lydia is in a shield set for this. And we have her with enough accuracy. Your Lydia, if you're using Lydia, or whoever your decreased defense champion is, they need at least 350, but up to 400 accuracy to reliably place decreased defense on all the enemies. Some of the Mount Kings at the higher end of Doom Tower Hard have up to 400 resistance. So you need at least 400 accuracy if you want to reliably place the decreased defense. So here, we'll do a run real quick. 186. So I did not use my Seer team. With the Rotos, it makes it kind of difficult because he cannot be one shot. So if you had 2 Kymars, you can do this because you can nuke, reset, and then nuke again. Because Kymars reset each other, and you go into the next wave, you reset, which resets your other Kymar, nuke, reset. Like, you can just kind of go ad nauseum with that. I'll show you floor 111. I don't think there's any Sifis here. Yeah, 25 turns. If you do have 2 Kymars, you can actually, instead of running a crowd control champion like Vizix, you could run another buff champion. So you put up more buffs, your Seer does more damage, and then you need less crit damage because you have more buffs. But that also means if you don't have a crowd control champion, that you need to bring more speed. So your Seer would also have to be like Probably 250 speed at least. Because once Lydia places increased speed, I don't know. I'd have to experiment with it to see for sure. I'm not smart enough to do the math to figure out. Santa seemed to have resisted both the decreased defense and the weaken. Hopefully, okay, poison killed him. There we go. So if you had 2 renegades, your third wave would look just like the second wave. It would work just fine. Obviously, this works for Doom Tower Normal too. The stat requirements are probably not as heavy. We'll give it a go. So yeah, if I had a second Kymar, I could run Duchess on this team. And then use Duchess as my speed or a lead, which would mean I would need 19 less speed on everybody's build. Which would just make it so much easier. So instead of 266, I can do like 246 on Kymar and Renegade. And then my Lydia, who's currently 249, would actually be fast enough to go first. Okay, so obviously it works in Doom Tower Normal too. When I first built this team, I had a different set of gloves on my Seer, and the ones I had did not have this extra 14 speed. My Seer was only 196, and at 196, my Kymar would actually take his third turn before my Seer took her second turn on the Renegade reset wave. And when that happens, all the buffs fall off of Kymar. So you need to make sure that, I don't know what the exact minimum speed is, but it's somewhere between 197 and 210, because at 196, my Seer wasn't fast enough to get her second turn away before she nuked. So make sure that you have enough speed on your Seer. If you're running into that issue, that's the problem. You just need more speed on your Seer. So for total crit damage, I have 356%, which I know is a lot, but even with this much, there are still some waves that my Seer cannot one-shot. Believe it or not. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to get her to a 6-star awakening so I can get the full benefit from Crushing Rend. Now 20% of that crit damage is coming from Crushing Rend, but if I can get her to 6-star, she will ignore defense equal to 1% of their defense for every 10 levels. The reason why that's particularly effective in Doom Tower, particularly Doom Tower Hard, is if you look at the levels of the enemies you're facing, level 308. So that gives you an extra 30% ignore defense. That's more than you get from Savage and lethal gear. So Crushing Rend is actually more powerful in Doom Tower Hard than Savage on these higher levels. But if you have both, then you're ignoring 50% of their defense. Something touched my leg. What was that? Thought it was a spider for a second. But there are, even with the crit damage levels that I have, there are still some waves, like this wave right here. You can see I didn't use this team to beat this wave. I had to go back to my old traditional crowd control style team. I have a video on this team as well, but one similar to it. But I'll show you what I mean. So Krisk and Altan both have extremely high defense. I don't think the shield is an issue. This Altan's asleep, but he's like just kind of looking around like he's not. So watch. These Altans and these Krisks just have so much HP, or sorry, so much defense, that even by ignoring all the defense I have from my lethal set and from Crushing Rend, it's still not quite enough to one-shot these. That's why I'm really trying to push up to that 6-star ascension. Other waves that could potentially give you trouble are the War Chief waves. There, okay. Yeah, see, 89 turns. What team did I use? I'm not even in the top top of my clan here. Alright, so just to show you an example of what happens when you fight war chiefs with Seer in Doom Tower. There's 2 of them on this wave. Also, Engar is another champion who has really high... Not only does he have really high defense, but he has a passive that gives him additional damage reduction. So you can see my Seer's dead on the floor. She didn't even kill the second war chief because there was no decreased defense. Let's try that again. We'll go slower. Alright, so this doesn't matter. A1 to push the turn meters back, I guess. We'll just attack there. So you see that bravado pop up? That's his passive. So he gets damage reduction by, I think, like 5% for each time he gets hit. So now he's taken 3 hits, 1 from Kymar, 1 from Vizix, and 1. So he's got 15% damage reduction from his bravado passive. And I don't know if it triggers from this attack or not, but now you see she's dead on the floor. She killed herself against these war chief passives, and the Engar survives. So that's another wave that can give you trouble. Again, you likely have to use a different team to clear the war chief waves. So yeah, I think once I get her to 6-star awakened, I'm hoping that the high defense champions like Altan and Krisk and Valkyries are also kind of an issue. Will no longer be an issue. That's gonna do it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy raiding.